Want to know what Gilmore Girls, beach mishaps, and hallway hugs have to do with rejuvenating as a teacher? This episode is part storytelling, part real talk, and packed with wisdom on how to balance teaching and life. You don't want to miss it. Let's dive in. Welcome to Educate and Rejuvenate, the podcast to help you revitalize your teaching, renew your spirit, and reignite your passion for life. I'm your host, Kelsey Sorensen, a former teacher, current homeschool mom, published author, and certified life coach. Whether you are a teacher in a traditional classroom, homeschool from your kitchen table, or anywhere in between, I am on a mission to help you not only survive as an educator, but thrive. Get ready to uplevel your skills with incredible insights from guest experts and discover the missing piece, rejuvenating yourself. Are you ready to both educate and rejuvenate? Let's go. Hello, my friends. I am so excited to be back at the mic and popping into your earbuds, even just for a quick moment. You might have noticed that the podcast has been on pause. As I told you, that was intentionally. And I want to start today's episode with a little real talk about that because here's the truth. We can't do all the things all the time. And this goes for you, this goes for me as well. And sometimes we have to say no to things we deeply love. Like for me, that is this podcast. So we can say yes to our own wholeness. So we can make space for what matters most in that season. Taking a break doesn't mean that you're quitting. So whatever comes to your mind right now as I'm talking about this, is there something in your life that you love that you're not wanting to let go of, but that maybe now isn't the time for it? Taking a break doesn't mean we're quitting. It means that we're choosing alignment. Living in the and, like we talk about on this podcast, means that we can hold space for what matters now and what will matter later. It means trusting that we can show up fully when it's time because we've taken the time to rest, reset, and realign. So with that, we'll be back with a full season sometime in 2026. I'm sure I'll be making an announcement before that. But in the meantime, the best way to stay connected is through our email list. That's where I've been pouring energy lately, sharing real stories, deeper coaching, and insights that lately, the past few weeks, as I've been putting even more effort into storytelling and sharing real things that like real teacher talk, right? I've been getting replies that are like, I love this email and this felt like it was written for me. So the easiest way to get on our email list is to sign up for our next free masterclass. And that's the next thing I want to share with you before we get into today's episode. Now, if you love the podcast, if you miss it, if this episode popping up today was like, oh, finally, you will love our free masterclass. It is called How to Stop the Overwhelm, Set Real Boundaries, and Finally Love Teaching Again Without Leaving the Classroom. So with this masterclass, it is completely free. You'll sign up. You'll get 2 hours of PD credit. You'll get real talk and practical strategies on how you can, again, I'm not saying you're never going to feel overwhelmed again, but you're going to learn how to manage it so much better. Set real boundaries, something so many of us need to do. Like, for example, me even mentioning what do we say no to in this season, right? And to feel like your full self again. This isn't just another professional development that's going to help you as a teacher. It is to help you as a whole person. It's the thing I wish I had when I was on the edge of burnout. And frankly, my trajectory probably would have looked a lot different. And I'm glad it ended up the way it did because I love doing what I do now. But this is the thing I wish I had when I was in the trenches of teaching. But don't just take my word for it, because here is what so many of our teachers are saying. Charlotte said, OMG, I needed this. All I ever wanted is to be a teacher. The last few weeks, I have been asking why. I feel guilty feeling like that, but this is what I want. But my anxiety and frustration is so high. And she found this masterclass to be helpful with that. Jana says, thank you so much for your energy and all the information. Kalandra says, this has been an excellent webinar. Thank you so much. So again, you can join us on our next one. Just go to the link in our show notes or go to educateandrejuvenate.com/live masterclass, and you'll be able to sign up for the next time. Now, in the meantime, we do have one episode for you while we're on this break. I was invited to be on the Balancing Act podcast with Joe and Jamie. And so we did an interview for my podcast as well. And this interview is such a fun one. And it starts with some lighthearted banter turning into a really heartfelt conversation. You'll get to hear their story, their first friendship moments in the school hallway, to deep chats on the beaches of Long Island. You'll hear how this dynamic duo turned everyday moments into a meaningful mission and their own podcast. And yes, there's a hilarious beach story in there that you won't want to forget, that you definitely want to hear. This one made me laugh, reflect, and want to text all my teacher friends to listen to it as well. So I hope it does the same for you. Let's get into it. All right, I am so thrilled for today's interview. I've got Joe and Jamie here from the Balancing Act podcast, and we have been already chatting for the last 45 minutes on their show, which you're going to want to check out as soon as you're finished with our episode. First, can you two introduce yourselves and tell our Educate and Rejuvenate listeners about you and what you do?
Of course. Hey, Kelsey. So good to see you. Matchy, of course. I have to fangirl again over Kelsey's lipstick and wall and shirt and all the things. I am Jamie Wonko. Are you here, Joe?
Yeah, I'm here. Oh, hey.
Joe?
I'm sorry. I was letting you do your thing. I'm Joe Vitale, and we are the co-hosts and creators of the Balancing Act podcast.
Yeah, so Joe and I started our podcast without recording it many, many years ago as our friendship.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yes.
You started without recording it.
Yeah.
We just decided one day we should just keep doing this, but let's actually film it. So Joe and I became friends as teachers, colleagues, parents of children of the same age. Years ago, Joe had moved to Pennsylvania. I didn't know him then. And when he came back to New Jersey, we met. He was a tech support in a position of tech support in our school district, and I was a tech enthusiast, a trier, if you will. So we met and started working together, doing some projects together. Realized that his kids, who had just moved from another state, were the same age as my older son, and we thought, oh, they like this, and so our kids became friends, and then our spouses became friends, and then we realized we had never known that our families had shore houses our whole lives a couple of miles away from each other. So we started spending our time not only in our town where we live together, but also in our favorite vacation spot, Long Beach Island, New Jersey. And so we were able to take our chats onto the sand, where all the best chats happen, and so we decided we're going to start our third season. This is our third season. Who are we? I don't even know anymore.
Amazing,
our third
right?
season of our podcast, and it has really become such a place for us to meet incredible people like you, Kelsey, and to learn all sorts of things, not just to make us better spouses, parents, teachers, but just people in general. And
Yeah, we started these conversations that we would have once we started working in the same building. I heard that a position opened up in the building that I work in, because we're in the same district, and I was like, you need to come over here. You need to come over here. You need to come over here. You should come over here. You know what? I'll talk to my principal about you coming over here. You should come over here. I think you need to come over here.
Yeah.
I
have been in the same building for 20.
You think she needed to go over
Yeah,
there?
right.
I mean, I'd been in the same building for 21 years. So when you are, when you're a teacher and you kind of. Sometimes believe I'm going to start and end in the same exact spot. So it was a big move.
Mm-hmm.
So I migrated over there, and thank goodness I did. But
yeah, we have been talking before that about, speaking about burnout, that she was kind of at a point where, I need a change. And I was like, well, the universe is a funny way of making things happen.
yeah.
But yeah, everything Jamie says is completely true, although some of it might have been over cocktails. We're like, we should start a podcast. Yeah, let's do that. And then here we are. Our ultimate goal was we realized we had so many common themes, even including down to parents who have older parents who have health issues, that we've unlocked that secret level of parenting, which is parenting your parents.
Yes. The impossible.
So
the impossible level.
Yeah, the impossible level, the final boss, if you will, if you're a video game player. But yeah, it's something that we always have. We have these conversations, in the hallway in the morning, or during lunch, and then the bell would ring, and we were like, "Damn it, we want to continue that." And then here we are. We just, I had enough tech skill to be able to get some things to a certain point. And now, our listenership is growing. We're getting into more people's ears and into their cars. Because our number one goal, not to sound hokey or corny, was to help as many people as we can. We thought we had some knowledge, whether you were a new teacher just getting into the classroom or a veteran who was like, am I the only one experiencing this? And then you get to realize, well, no, there's not. There are other people out there that are rowing in the same direction as I am. Maybe they're just in their own boat, you know?
And I think also what we do that is a little bit different from some of the other similar teachers or some of this sort of is a lot of we're actually still in the classroom. So we're in it day to day. Whereas especially like if you go to a professional development, there's a lot of like people who left the classroom, which is obviously brings like a wonderful world of experience. And they, had that real world to back up what they're saying and doing. But this year, Joe is starting his 27th year teaching. I'm starting my 25th year teaching. And so we are, also parents of school-age children. And so we're really sort of in every different part of, what that means and what that looks like. And so we feel like that's a really special part of what we have also is that we're in it, on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Well, and I love that because I get asked that a lot with like our event when we have speakers. Like, do you have any current teachers speaking? Because I mean, even myself, I'm one of those who is not currently in the classroom full time. Now I do homeschool my kids and I teach twice a week, like at the wellness studio, a group of random kids each week, which is so fun. But I'm not like in the traditional classroom every day. So it is like a different vantage point. The great thing with like my coaching is that like it is nice to come with a little bit of outside perspective, but also I think it's so good that current teachers are in here doing the work too, because we need current teachers in the classroom doing podcasts and speaking. It shouldn't just only be people like me who is like, oh yeah, I was in the classroom 10 years ago and now I teach in all these other ways, which is great, but it's good to have a variety of perspectives and people that we can listen to. Absolutely. And I love that you are out there helping teachers with balancing all the different things that we balance. Like I feel like there's just so much like with aging parents and with parenting your own children and teaching and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, just dinner alone is a
right.
I mean, the thing that never ends. Dinner. What's for dinner?
Yeah.
What's for dinner? Whenever kids ask that and you don't know the answer, you're just like, I don't know. Like, stop bugging me.
Well,
Jamie, like, I know I need to feed you.
I mean, I write it on I have a dry erase on my refrigerator. And
you actually have a very interesting answer for when your kids ask what's for dinner. And I don't know.
I'm not going to say it here, Kelsey, because it's not a nice
Okay, now I really want to hear it.
No, it's a little. I actually was listening to a podcast recently, and oh my goodness, she has that new Netflix show, and she's like that Southern comedian, Leanne.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
I can picture her in my mind.
Okay, so she is like really,
but I don't know her name.
This new show, and
I feel like Netflix is coming out with so many things I can't even keep up. I mean, it's K-pop Demon Hunters at my house right now.
And she even she just recently sat down and spoke with Oprah. And so there's a word that I love to use, which isn't really maybe a nice word, but if my kids ask me what's for dinner, because I have it written down, I do it on Sundays and I write it for the week, but they still want to ask me, so I reply buttholes, which is not nice. It's not nice. But I'm gonna tell you that recently when I listened to her, I never felt so validated and seen in my entire life, because she was saying it over and over and over, and I'm like, are you talking to Oprah and you just said buttholes? No. But she did it, so I was like, woohoo, green light. I'm saying it everywhere.
So you will hear things like this as well as other hard-hitting topics on our podcast.
We go high and we go low.
I loved it.
Yeah, no,
I love it.
Honestly,
I need to start listening to your podcast.
This is what it's like with the two of us. But
Leanne Morgan,
not to
Morgan,
belabor
is her.
it, but it's good, bad, and Oh, that's right.
And Morgan, yeah.
It is the good, bad, and ugly of all of it, right? There's times where, like, and Kelsey, like there's days that are good, there's days that are bad, there's days that are, what is, you actually just said it on our episode, every day is a replay, right? I think, one of your listeners may have said that. And
whenever there's a bad day, whenever you have a bad day, there's always a replay.
And I think, and to use a sports analogy, right? I play golf with my son a lot now, and I try to tell him, like, okay, the most important shot is the next one. Like, okay, you hit a crappy shot. But if you dwell on that, then you need to figure, okay, how can I recover? What is my next step? Like, it's hard to put yourself in that mindset all the time, right? It's also, yes, it's going to get frustrating if you hit bad shot after bad shot after bad shot, right?
Yeah.
It's going to happen. There's days where it's going to be like that. Yeah. Mama said there'd be days like this. But then there's days where, okay, you can put that behind you and figure out, how do I recover? How do I put myself in the mindset of, now this is the most important step forward for me? And I realize it's a golf analogy, but like, I try to use that a little bit in life. Like, if the lesson didn't go well, if the experience didn't go well, if the conversation didn't go well, there's always going to be another one.
Yeah.
Where you're going to have that opportunity again. So
I love that. And it really is, like, too often we try to let our past, like, oh, I made this mistake and that mistake, and we let that determine our future. And it doesn't have to. If we, like you said, we shift our mindset about it, we realize it is about the next play. It's not about the last 20 plays, right? We can learn from those 20 plays. And then, but what are we going to do next? It can be different.
Absolutely.
I love that. Okay. So, what we were talking on your show a lot about different tools that we love for rejuvenation, but mainly it was me sharing what I love. I shared about the anchor menu. I shared about our permission slips and different things on your show. I want to hear now, what are your favorite tools for rejuvenation? Like I said, when we were talking about on your show, we're all over here about educate and rejuvenate. So what are your favorite tools for doing just that?
Ladies first.
Okay. So I should ask who. I'm interviewing two people. I'm like, okay, Jamie, you can go.
Okay. So I love the ampersand of the right. Isn't that I want to say that's a little shout out to my many nights of watching Wheel of Fortune with my parents. And so the idea of your educate and I think that obviously so much of that comes from our whatever our special interests might be, and so there's this defining line, I think, especially for women who are moms like I am, that there were so many years. My children now are 17 and 13. I have twins that are 13. So I have 3 kids. And for a really long time, I think so much of my there wasn't a lot of rejuvenate because it was just educate and mom. And there was just so
and do the laundry and do the dishes.
It was right, all the things that come along with being a mom, and the homework and the shuffling, and so I feel in the last probably 4 or 5 years where the kids have been able to be more responsible, pack their own lunches, get their breakfast together, pick out their own clothing, things like that, where I've given been given that time back, and so there's an interesting spin to be able to sort of analyze who was I before I was in charge of all of these tiny humans, and then what is that, because nobody has enough time, right? So what are the things that I really want to choose to make the best use of the time that I have in ways that are really going to fuel. So for me, honestly, the last couple of years, the podcast has been such a rejuvenate for me. I am a constant observer of people. I absolutely love to hear other people's stories, hear what really gets them going, fires them up, and sort of soak all of that in. And so I've loved being able to speak to people from all different parts of the world, honestly, at this point, and then also hear, their experiences and their challenges and struggles and how they've overcome that. Of course, like on a day-to-day basis, I am like the biggest Netflix. There's nothing I love more than television, to be honest with you. When I was a kid, I was limited to one show a day. And I swear that's had like the adverse effect of how much I love television as an adult.
You're like, I'm a grown up now. I can say how much TV I watch.
It's so true. And to be honest with you, when fall comes, and this is the longest I've ever gone without my true life's passion, watching Gilmore Girls. I've been making myself wait a really long time for that. And so to me, like Rejuvenate is also like watching the same show that I've already seen 400 times. And then of course, I will say, like, if it's of the sea, it's for me. So I love to boogie board and body surf and jet ski and paddleboard and anything that has to do with water. So those are the things that really make me feel good, which is difficult, like in the when it's January in New Jersey, because we have none of that. But
a little cold.
But of course, reading, exploring, talking, friends, all of those things really, and then of course I have to say, like, watching my kids at this point, they're like really coming into themselves has been, just unbelievable. It's really exciting stuff. So, yeah.
A lot of my things are the same.
Copycat.
I'm going to put my mic down a little bit.
And so that's why you're such good friends, right?
Yeah, no, we do have a lot of things in common.
We do.
Absolutely. And I'm an active person. I was
going to say, Joe does a lot more things with movement than I do.
Yeah. Not as much recently. I've kind of, I've been a cyclist. I ride my bike and I run. But I really haven't been doing much of that recently. I kind of like, it was funny. I run some marathons and half marathons, and I was like, okay, I'm going to train for another race. And I had this as my thing that I wanted to do for like in the new year, not a New Year's resolution thing. That's not what it was. But like, it's like, all right, rededicate myself to running. And I'm outside and I'm bundled up and it's January and I'm going on a long run. And I'm like, I don't enjoy this. So I realized, like, I enjoy running. I do. I don't enjoy being cold. My favorite part of winter is when it's over. That is my usual joke. Because I enjoy like being outside. So for me, a lot of it was like, being active and doing things outdoors. So like I made a golf analogy before. I like to play golf and hang out with my friends and do stuff like that. Big in not necessarily experiences, but like, I've had some friends of mine with some health issues. Close friend of mine, a fraternity brother, passed away a few years ago unexpectedly. So I try to, spend more time with people that I care about outside of my family. I mean, I love my family, I do. But traveling and doing things, I see friends of mine every year, just to kind of check in, see how they're doing. People I care about, I want to make sure that I spend time with them while they're able to enjoy that time. But yeah, that's really the main ways that I rejuvenate. Both during the school year, trying to be active. It's harder in the winter months, but a lot of it is spending time with my wife, going out with friends for a good meal somewhere, things like that just allow me to recharge the batteries and enjoy all there is to offer in life.
Yeah. I love all the things that both of you said about all the different things that make you outside of teaching, right? You named, like, Jamie loves, like, the water. I love how that came up on the other podcast too, because they used a total water analogy. And then Joe loves, like, running outside when it's not cold. And all the things that make you outside of teaching. And what I would love to ask is, like, because what I find when I talk to a lot of teachers, and for one, I love that you named so many things that you love to do, because what I found sometimes is I ask, what do you love to do outside of teaching and parenting and the laundry and that other list of things that you do?
You will never be lonely, because laundry will always be there for you.
It'll always be there for you.
Yeah, it's always there. Sorry.
But how is it that you make the time for those things? Because we have to create that time. It doesn't just, like, magically come on a platter and be like, here's all this time for you to do all these incredible things that you love to do. We can easily be overtaken by the laundry and the dishes and teaching and lesson planning and all of that.
I think I for me, not to speak for Jamie. Also, just to go back to like the podcast definitely has become something, as a third space for us to really reflect. And I've talked about this openly. Like I do this with somebody whose ability as a teacher I greatly admire. I think I think Jamie's amazing at what she does. But a lot of times, because we have a good friendship, and I might say things that she can give me another perspective on, which makes me think about it in a different manner, which allows me to be a better teacher, a better father, better husband, better partner, stuff like that. So, and I hope vice versa.
Yes.
But there's definitely, that actually helps us a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
And speaking of that, like I have a very supportive spouse. Like she's not going to stand in the way like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Oh, you're going out running again. Or like, yeah, there's a point of contention for it. Sure. If it's done at the wrong times, but she's very supportive in knowing that like I need that time to be
right.
Like I'm not going out drinking with the guys. I'm not going to the bar. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like that's not honestly, like that's not my thing.
Not your thing.
I'll have it. I have a drink every once in a while, but that's not my main form of entertainment, right? But I have a very supportive partner that knows that like I need that in order to be the best version of myself. So that time is made, but it's like something that needs to be put into place in order for me to decompress and have, do all the things that need to be done as a husband, father, and teacher. Yeah.
My mom became quite ill 3 years ago, and we were told she would have less than 6 months to live. She's still alive 3 years later. And it became this like redefinition of pretty much everything that I do and the way that I do it. And so what I have come to is that, time is very limited. And so, every year I pick a word. My word for 2025 is worth. And so everything really comes down to like, is this worth my time? Is this worth my energy? Is this worth, how much of my emotional space am I going to give to this? What I also realized is that a lot of times I think people feel that they need to quantify or defend what it is that they like to do to others. And so there's this really interesting space, right, of like, I love sleep. And so I also have a very supportive spouse who's also a teacher. And so we both have time, more time than if if he was working till 6 or 7 o'clock. Right. So, but he likes to sleep late, and I am an early to bed, early to rise person. So respecting each other's like need for sleep, but at the time that it works is also really important. If I say like one of my favorite activities is watching television, I don't need anybody to tell me that there's a better use of my time, because it's my time. And that, and so I think, it's sort of like, did you grow up in a sleep supportive house? Like if you slept until 11 a.m., did someone say to you, like, you wasted half the day? Or did someone say, you must have really needed that sleep? And so I think that like the idea of supporting what another person needs for them, you don't need to understand it. You need to support it and allow it, so that there's not that shame in what it is that someone may or may not like to do. So if you want to go out, if you want to go out for a 20-mile bike ride, like amazing. And if you want to spend like an hour on the couch, equally amazing, right? It's what that person needs at that time. And so I think that it has been also, and I hate to be negative to the mans out there, but what genuinely helped to reshape my attitude and behavior is the understanding that men, most of them, I won't say all, but most of them don't feel guilty about doing things for themselves. And so what I
found that in my marriage.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
My husband,
my wife and I have had that discussion.
My husband is he loves the gym. That is like what he needs to do. He goes multiple days of the week for many, many hours that he is there. And when he is there, I know he is not worrying about like picking up the medication, dropping off, is the macaroni boiled, are the cleats clean? You know, he's only doing what he is doing in that moment for himself. And so I have had to tell myself to do that, because it's not natural to me as a mom. It's like I'm interconnected. You know, you are cellularly connected to your child in a way. I tell my kids all the time that, oh, Mom, don't worry. I grew you. I grew you in my being. I cannot not worry or think of you, but I have tried to mentally say to myself, like, it's okay for you to take that and sort of move it to the side, because your husband, their father, loves them as much as you do, and he has no problem doing that. So I've given myself that grace to say, and that is, I think, the missing piece for so many of us in so many ways, of like, really give yourself the grace. It's okay. They're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You're going to be much better off for it. So that's something, and that's a work in progress for me I agree. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I don't think it's a bad thing. Like, no. I mean, my husband's that way too. It's not a bad thing. I'm like, oh, I wish I could naturally be more like that.
Jealous.
Because we should be able to, both both my husband and I and all of us and our partners, we should be able to enjoy our time. That is our time, and then support each other. I love how we've been talking a lot about having a supportive partner where you both get that time. But when you do, like, actually doing your best to unplug your brain a little bit, like, it's okay, like, that can wait. Like, that's one thing that I learned from one of the coaches that I've had is, like, to like, when it does come up in your brain, be like, oh, remember, we're going to do that, like, and then just remind your brain, we're not, like, ignoring it. This is when we decided we're going to look at that again. And then it can help it settle down. I try to do that, but I'm still, like, I think it's a woman thing that we just are always going to be working with, but over time it can get better.
It can. Yeah. Yes.
Husbands, am I right? You know, I just okay.
And Joe, I have to say, is a super involved dad, and is always doing things and worrying. He's more of like I don't want, sorry, Joe.
No, you can. Right? Like, because I was going to make the point.
Yeah, I mean, Joe definitely worries more than, like, the average dad, and about, like, his kids more in, like, a maternal way than would be typical, I think. And so he can identify with that 150%.
And I also have trouble as a person who has anxiety and ADHD. And, like, I when you're out and you're running 5 miles for 45 minutes and you're like, you can't not think about, like, okay, when I get home,
not think about things that are going on.
Like,
yeah.
Like your brain. And I'm sure that there are things that your husband, James, will think about in the gym when he's allegedly lifting weights. It's a long running joke.
No, he does, but he worries about things that are not important. Because he is someone who suffers from anxiety. So I don't want to say not important, but he will, and that is something a trait I see in our kids. So I'll say, I'm worrying about, like, the car insurance, but you're worrying about, like, whether or not, it's not the same.
I get it.
You know what I mean? So I know he's thinking of things as just not the same, in the same way, but, and so it's interesting. Everyone has their things,
They have this amazing relationship between the two of them, and I think Tracy and I kind of mirror it, but in a different way. But I'm going to tell a story for your listeners.
I want to hear it. I love the stories.
We're on the beach last summer. This is legitimately one of my favorite stories. Yeah. We're on the beach last summer, and Jamie's sitting in the chair, and she tells her nephew, like, hey, could you pick up my thing? She has, like, this thing that goes on her chair. It's like a little hood thing, and it was filled with sand. Okay. And he picks it up and puts it over her because she wanted shade. And the sand immediately all over her face, in her eye, down her bathing suit. She closes her eyes. She's blowing it out. Sand all over the place. I'm sitting, like, next to her on the beach. Her husband is right across from her. Okay? She gets up. She runs past him. She runs into the beach. And runs into the ocean. Yeah. She rinses herself off. It's a couple minutes. Okay, I witnessed this. I'm like, oh, that was not good. And then like she comes back and she's like looking around, she's grabbing her towel, and she's obviously upset. And she's like, well, did she see something on the beach? Like somebody had a phone in their shoe. He's like, who gets their phone in their shoe? Well, that's stupid. And she kind of kicks it out of the way. And her husband was like, what happened? And she goes, Jason, you didn't see him pick up the hood of my thing? And she was agitated. Like, you didn't see him pick up the hood of my thing? You didn't see him? I had sand in my ear, in my hair, in my eyes. It went in my mouth. It was down my suit. I had to go run in the ocean. And he just goes, I swear to God, he goes, oh, that must have been awful for you. And she immediately, just what she did right now, the way she's laughing. I don't want to curse. I kid you not. She immediately laughed in that direction, and then I started laughing. Yeah. And it just, like, you just know that it was not an angry thing. It was not like, how could you not recognize, like, the relationship that they have with one another, the fact that, like, he's oblivious and clueless, and he'll 100% admit it.
Oh, yeah.
That relationship between the two of them is embodied in that conversation. Like, it was just one of the funniest moments I have ever witnessed, ever.
That's amazing.
Must have been awful for you. I mean, he was serious.
But now we say it to
we
all four of us. My daughter will be like, "That must have been awful for you." Like we all say it, like all of us.
It's like a catchphrase now.
It is literally a catchphrase.
Yes, he has the ability
that.
to take me from like a 10 to a 0 with just like one innocent.
Yeah, and that's why when we were saying before about how sometimes your husband like matches your like energy and sometimes he doesn't, like that's the moment. Like he doesn't, like in that moment he needed to be like that. Oh, that must have been awful for you, but he meant that in a genuine way. Like, oh my God, that must have been awful.
Yeah,
like legitimately that's what he thought. But he was completely I mean, he was sitting right across from her. I don't know how he missed it, but he missed it. And it was
he did. I mean, you know, it's just what makes him the best. Yeah.
It was just it is a glorious story, but it embodies the relationship between the two of them, though.
True.
You know,
so true.
Where my wife is you know, I want to use the word moral compass. You know, that voice in my shoulder of like helping me make decisions. Because when I say like, I often say she's the smartest woman that I know.
She's so. I mean, she's such a sage advisor in every. You know, in every way. Yes.
And there is no marshmallow fluff on her giving advice. Like she's going to give it to you and you might not want to hear what you want to hear, but like that's the opinion.
Yeah.
And not necessarily in a bad way, but in a very like direct way. That's how she analyzes things. And I think that's also part of us in our careers. My wife is a nurse. Now she's an academic. She's an associate dean at Rutgers and teaching, you know, nurses to be nurses.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and she's very, very good at what she does. Shout out to my wife, who's also getting, I never remember the name of the organization, but she's being inducted into a nursing organization that has like 3,200 members out of the 2 million in the United States at a ceremony in Washington, D.C. coming up in October. So, you know, we're very proud of her. And that's another one of those things that like I get to watch her do all these amazing things and be a published author and get promoted at her job and be proud of her in that moment. Like, I know this might sound weird, but her way to rejuvenate is doing those things and having those accomplishments.
Yeah.
Like, and she's not overwhelmed by that. There are times that she is, but she's very like in tune to being successful at what she does because she cares about her profession. She cares about the students that she teaches. It's just a different mindset.
Right. And it's not weird, right? We want to try to continue to take that.
Well, and there are teachers who want to. I was just coaching a teacher the other day who like a coworker was saying, you need to leave. You need to get out of here. And she's like, well, actually, I want to be still in my classroom right now. Like, I feel like I want to do this. Like, is that bad? And it's like, no, if that's what you want to do. Like, you know, we're often telling teachers you need to leave at contract time, but what if they want to be there later because they love it? Yes. That's fine too. Yes. Both are valid.
And as long as they're not, oh, you're leaving. I have so much stuff to do. You should be staying like I am. As long as they're not that.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Because my boss will say this, like she is. Oh, people say like, oh, I'm busy. I'm blah, blah, blah. My boss is busy. Okay. She's got. And for a variety of different reasons. A couple years ago, before her kids were more college age, she had all of her children involved in very high level travel sports. All of her the 3 of the 4 children that are currently in college are all playing athletics at different schools. like her son plays baseball for the Coast Guard, like, and she like she's busy, okay?
Yeah.
And she was
shuffling
like,
him around.
she was like,
Yeah.
when this day ends, like, I'm out of here and I'm mom. Like, there are times when I know that she's doing observations and stuff like that, and you know, because you get those little you get those emails that come through like, oh, your observation was signed at 8:30 p.m. on a Wednesday night.
Right.
But no, like, she's a big, like, it's good to also know that you have a supportive boss that knows, like, yeah, it's mom first, it's dad first, it's family first, and that is not just a placating response. Like, that is an action. Like, I know that's the case. Like, if I said, hey, I gotta go, like, my daughter's having a blah blah blah, you got, okay, go, bye, see you later, okay, we'll cover you, adios. There's no question, there's no, like, that is a great environment to be in. And I feel bad for people that aren't in that environment. Anyway, but you don't want people to, like, project themselves and say, like, oh, well, you should be doing this. Well, no, that's me in my space, right? That's someone not understanding, like Jamie just said, like, you know, you need to understand that you're you must have really needed that sleep, instead of like, why'd you waste the whole day away?
Right.
Like,
and whether or not you have kids, that's always an issue that I come back to, because there are, you know, there sort of is this idea of, like, how busy people are based on, you know, how many kids they have or how many activities their kids are in. And I don't really care for that, because I'm
the, like, badge of honor busy,
right, and it's sort of this, like, competitive space that I don't subscribe to, because you're then asking people, you know, there was years and years ago, and it must have shaped me more than I had realized, but there was quite a few people that I worked with that didn't have children. And some of us were just sort of the age where, you know, we just weren't having kids yet. And then there were people, like, in their 40s and 50s who had chosen not to have kids, or weren't married, or for whatever reason. Right. And there was this sort of like, well, I have kids. You know, there are quiet ways of supporting that. Like, there's a snowstorm coming and, you know, I have to be at a school pickup, where you just say to the person, just go, you know, just go, you're okay. Whereas, like, trying to say, my life is more valid or important, or, you know, my time is more important than yours because I have,
like, your time isn't important because you don't have kids at home, or whatever.
Or you can't possibly be as fulfilled or busy because, like, your son plays on a baseball travel team and mine doesn't. That to me is, you know, completely like an insignificant. Knowing, like, family first right out the gate, so important. And I think that that's, like, kind of more the vibe that she'll go for, more than anything else. But the idea of, you know, oh, I have 4 kids and you have 1. No, like, we can't get into any of those. I think all
not
of those
a comparison game.
No. Yeah, it's all a very dangerous space. I know that's not what you meant. I just wanted to clarify that.
If it came across that way, I didn't mean it that way.
It didn't to me.
Yeah, but I just, like, I think, as if there are younger people in your Educate and Rejuvenate group that are out there, you know, read the room. If you're saying, like, oh, I was out till this time and I just didn't get a chance to do this, and like, okay, like, maybe that's not the place to be talking about that. If you're in a room full of people that have little kids, and then I've had a candid conversation with one of my coworkers, like, and I look at 2 people in different spaces, and if I say this and it sounds insensitive, I apologize, but I don't.
No,
maybe I do mean it to me. I don't know. Yeah. But, like, there's 2 teachers, and I look at 2 teachers, and I'm not using names, but I have one teacher that works, you know, they both live equally distant away. One of them is, like, you know, later in their career, late every day. Okay. Another one is got 2 kids that they got to drop off at 2 different, one at elementary school, one at a daycare. The dad works nights. Like, they're in it. Right? They are in the weeds, and they are arriving late every day. I'm not looking at the teacher who's dropping the kids off and arriving late every day in the same vein as the person who's living across town, who's later in their career. I don't know what their responsibilities are. Maybe they have something going on, but do they have something going on 10 months out of the year where they're late 4 days a week? I don't know. But, like, that's me projecting myself and things that I don't agree with on a situation that I shouldn't be doing that on. I should just keep my brain out of it. But it's hard for me to do that. Like, I don't judge that teacher who's got to drop those kids off and run all over the place, because that's you're not that you're in that space, Kelsey, but like you kind of are in that space. You got little ones at home. You got littles all over the place. Like it's a lot.
Little activities.
We've all been. It's like in the restaurant industry. Like you're in the weeds. You know, that's what they used to call it when you got double sat in a restaurant and you had all different orders to take. You were in the weeds. You were trying to get out of it. And if evidently someone would step up to you and be like, "Hey, can I you want me to run the drinks over for you while you take the sure, okay." So someone would help you out. Like that's what we got to do.
Right.
We need an environment like that. Anyway, I don't mean to,
and no
go
one
off
should be
tangent,
late.
but
I'm sorry.
No. No.
I know that's because like immediately my brain goes to like I had 5-month-old twins and a 4-year-old and but it and I get it. I
get it too.
And I wasn't late to work, but that's part of like what triggers you like as an individual of like lateness. Like I married someone who is never on time, and I am sitting in the car with 3 kids that I dressed, changed, and ready, and we're waiting for him. So it's just like it's part of your personality, whether you have 8 people to get ready or just yourself.
Baby Boo's got to put his weight back.
I mean,
his
some
weight's
people
back
are
on the
always
rack,
some people are always going to be late, no matter how many. That's the
some are always going to be late or chronically earlier on time. Yeah, it's just like how you run.
And I think this is also me. Like when I lived in Pennsylvania, my kids were little. Like I was still working in the town that I live in now. Traveling an hour and 10 minutes each way. Like I would leave my house at 5:30 in the morning. I'd be at the building by 10 minutes to 7 because I did not want to be late.
Right.
Because if I left at another time, I would be sitting in traffic and I would not make it there. And then I'd feel bad that I'd have to call the office. They'd have to scramble for coverage. My first period class wouldn't have me in the room. It would have like not busy work, but like not me. Like I just did not want to be in that space. So I made every effort to be early.
But if if rejuvenate, like you said earlier, Kelsey, is someone staying. There was this woman that I taught with for a really long time, and she would stay until 6:30 a few days a week, every week, and it was really important to her to be able to do that. And there were always like, oh, what is she doing? And I think sometimes like when people are making those kinds of comments, it's like it's more about them than it is about her. And and it never stopped her from doing it. And she taught for well over 30 years doing it. But and I do think that like that idea of being supportive is really important instead of like the judgmental spaces that sometimes that happen. And if you do want to stay until 6 o'clock, stay if that's what you like to do or need to do, and adjust. I mean, there's not a night that during the school year that goes by that I don't have some sort of like mental preparation and plan, or that I sit down at my computer and check that everything is ready for the next day. That has, I have to say, that's been one of my favorite parts about some of the things becoming digital. Whereas, in the past, when we first started working, you'd have to physically be present to get all the materials together. Whereas, some of the things that are digitized, it's been nice to be able to have some extra time in the evening to be able to do that. But there's many nights where I am, and they say, oh, you're off the clock. But for me, like that makes me feel good and ready to be prepared.
Well, and if it helps you to feel better the next day and enjoy your work more, enjoy the hours that you are on the clock, makes it more enjoyable, then of course it's worth it. Or maybe you just love having like 30 minutes of quiet and organizing in your classroom or whatever it is before you go pick up the kids from daycare and make dinner and get back into that chaos. Maybe it's a moment of peace. It's different for everybody what feels good to you. So I think it's important just to realize what works for you. And then realize what works for you might not be what works for the teacher next door. And it might be different from the teacher across the hall. You all have your own ways of doing it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean,
none of them are wrong.
And none of them are wrong. I mean, I've had friends who've...
Except if you're late. No, kidding.
No, I mean,
if you're late.
Or, worse than that, you don't say hello. I've had, women like, through the years
Don't get her... Listen.
Don't get started.
Okay, I want to hear about the don't say hello. We got to hear about that.
If you... before she says it, Kelsey, I hope you can link to this episode. I'll send you the link to it.
Yes.
There's an
send me the link.
episode
I will.
that we did right around my birthday. It was my birthday gift from Jamie. It was called, You Know What Really Grinds My Gears? And it's my favorite episode from season 2. Because
I can't wait.
There's a moment in there where she becomes the sheriff of the Hi, Hello, How Are You police, and does not like it when people walk by and don't say hi to you in the morning. And she was adamant about citation. She was adamant.
You have been cited by the Hi, Hello, How Are You police. Hi, hello, and how are you? It should
So
just
if you're
be
looking
standard.
for, I just like bombarded the conversation, but if you're looking for an episode to start out with the Balancing Act podcast,
right.
That's the one that I would start
That's
with. You know
the
what
one.
really
Okay.
grinds my gears, and we'll send that link to Kelsey, and she can hopefully
perfect.
add it to the description so you guys could check
Yes,
it out.
I will do that.
think that when you're talking about rejuvenate, I do think creating a positive work environment or a place that people want to come and want to be, and I do think it's you're not gonna. I say this to my students all the time. We work with 80 adults. You are not going to become friends with 80 adults, but you do need to learn how to practice proper social norms. And one of those acceptable social norms is if you can't, actually say, and I get it, some people are not morning people, some people are night people or whatever. You can look at someone and give the very polite nod. Even, you don't have to show me your teeth. It's okay. But just a slight upturn of
acknowledgement of their existence.
Correct. And so and so to me, if we're supposed to be modeling good behavior and, what is, the right way to present in the world to hundreds and hundreds of kids, they see us. They see people not doing that. And anyone who wants to say that they don't know, they notice and they know and they get it. And so for me, it's this funny banter that we do, but it is, you are not acknowledging another person and you're now giving a 12-year-old permission to just not acknowledge anybody. And they do soak that in. And so for me, it is part of that modeling behavior that, and you don't have to hi, and goodbye. I'm not expecting a tap dance, although I will take one if you can do it. I will stand and clap and be so excited. But, so that grinds my gear. It gets me every time. I
totally get where you're coming from with that. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing where human connection is such a big part of what is so important about just, life in general. And so I think it is really helpful. Just a smile, a wave, definitely do help with that. And at the same time, what we talked about a lot, even on your podcast, which everybody go back and listen to the other part of this conversation. If you're at this point in this episode, you obviously like this banter we're having. So make sure to listen to part 1 on the Balancing Act podcast.
We are a delight. Come and listen to us.
It's true.
Please do. But I also mentioned the let them because, we also can't control if they do that or not. So it's kind of a balancing act of that, right? It's I totally agree that I want people to do that. And also we can't control what they do. So what do we do?
Yeah. I still say hi.
Yes. And that's your let me. I'm still going to say hi and you can ignore me and I'm going to say hi.
Because if the tiny observers are observing, they know Mrs. Wanko said hi. You know what I mean? It's still
tiny observers now.
Tiny observers are
That's why I'm at the door in between periods. Kids are coming in. Hi, hello, how are you? Good morning. What's up? How you doing? There's all of that stuff as the kids are coming in the room. Even if they don't acknowledge me, I'm still going to do it.
Oh yeah.
Because one day they'll be like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
Sup.
Sup.
Or I don't know. I feel the language keeps changing too. I feel it's changing faster than it used to. Yeah. I don't know. I think the internet must have I'm what are all these new terms coming out all the time? I can't even keep up.
No. They added 6,000 words to the dictionary. They're not really words, but.
Yeah. It's skibbity and bruh and
Delulu.
Yeah, Delulu's
Jinx.
on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they actually added those to the dictionary.
And then in the next vein, I saw that cassette tapes are coming back now. People are going nostalgic and listening to cassette tapes.
No, well, and cassette tapes, vinyls.
Yes.
I'm actually on the vinyl craze.
Yes.
It's been fun.
Yeah. Nice.
I'm yeah. But, it's funny how things come back, like
Back around the way. That's true.
cassette tapes, though. That's the one I don't get. I'm like, vinyls, they're like pretty and it's cool, but like cassettes, I'm like, why? I don't quite get that one.
Yeah, me neither. But what goes?
But
What's
if it
old
brings
is new
people
again.
joy, then have at it.
Absolutely.
Yes,
We all need a little joy
That's
We do.
true.
everything.
That's so true.
So
if that's what rejuvenates you, then cassette tape
Yes.
away.
Yes.
then get your cassette tapes.
Yes.
Well, this has been so much fun, both of these episodes. And again, if you just tuned in here on Educate and Rejuvenate the podcast, definitely check out the first episode. And we'll link the episode all about the hi, hello, or what grinds your gears as
Yep.
well
Absolutely.
in the description. Would both of you like to share what are your final thoughts or things, or I don't know if you have any freebies or anything you want to share with the audience. I just hit my microphone because I talk with my hands.
So do we.
We do it too. So check out our podcast. We drop a new episode every Tuesday. We are on every possible platform. Some I have never heard of before, but I'm sure someone has and enjoy. We are on podcast or Spotify video, YouTube. Help me out, Joe.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of
Apple.
everything.
We are on all the socials, the talk, the Facebook, the gram. Hit us
Yes.
up. Give us a like, a follow, and subscribe.
Please do. And we
Is it
are,
under the balancing act on those?
yes.
Or what?
It's
Okay.
at Pod the Balancing Act.
Pod the balancing
Pod
act.
the Balancing
Pod
Act.
the
Yes,
Balancing
because
Act.
somebody else has the Balancing Act podcast,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
we're going to take them down. Yes. But yeah, that's all things about us for sure. We're on all the socials. You can definitely come and find us.
Yes.
And we hope that, some of your listeners will come and check us out, because we think that our messages are very similar. Like, how do we kind of go through all
Yeah.
this craziness together and, find a common ground of, we talk often about plate spinning and keeping everything in the air.
Yes.
So it's just it's a delicate dance, and sometimes the plates fall and break, but we need to pick them up and figure out the best way to
Yeah.
move forward.
Well, thank you,
Awesome.
Kelsey.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Jamie, for being here and sharing all of your inspiration, but also the laughs. I feel like you two are just really fun to listen to and hang out with. So
Thank
I'm
you.
sure that everybody listening today or watching can feel that too. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here, and we'll talk soon. Wasn't that such a fun episode? I just love Joe and Jamie. They're so hilarious. So make sure that you're following their podcast, The Balancing Act. And then also make sure to send this conversation to a friend, especially any teacher who needs a reminder that they're not alone. And don't forget, even though we're on a break from the podcast, I still want to connect with you. And in fact, I would love for you to join me face to face and come to one of our free masterclasses. Now, these are actually live. You're actually there with me. It is not like pre-recorded pretending to be live. It's actually live. So come join me, be in the room. You'll learn how to stop the cycle of exhaustion, reclaim your boundaries, and get support in real, sustainable ways. So this might be the last episode for now, but it isn't goodbye. It's just the pause that I need to keep showing up aligned, present, and whole, and we will come back better and stronger than ever. So I'll catch you inside your email inbox, or better yet, at our live masterclass. Talk to you soon. Thank you for joining me on Educate and Rejuvenate the podcast today. If you love what you heard in this episode, be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if you're hungry for even more, be sure to check out the book that I wrote. It's called Educate and Rejuvenate, a 3-step guide to revitalize your teaching, renew your spirit, and reignite your passion for life. It takes everything you learn here on the podcast and that I teach our members inside the Educate and Rejuvenate Club into a guidebook you can refer to again and again. One of our early readers said it was like clarity for her brain. Plus, it's not only a book. With your purchase, you'll get a full PDF guide with exercises and links to videos and more, so that you can not only consume but apply everything that you learn. If you're ready to make Educate and Rejuvenate not just a podcast you passively listen to, but a lifestyle that you put into action, it's time to grab your copy on Amazon today. Or head to educateandrejuvenate.com/book to read the first chapter and the introduction today.